Welcome to this video. We're going to be doing Math 127, Section 10.4, Shifted Conics. To do shifted conics is very much like the rest of Chapter 10, except we are going to be shifting the graphs according to what happens. And so we'll be replacing x by x minus h to shift to the right, x by x plus h to the left, y by y minus k to go up, and y by y plus k to go down. And so just to give a visual of what we're doing, let's pretend we have ourselves an ellipse, right? Just an ellipse. We'll have some ellipse here, and let's just say it goes out 1, 2, just to give an example for the focus points, and then here's for the major and the minor axis. We'll do the same on the other side, and here I have some ellipse. And see if I can make that just a little bit cleaner for everyone. There we go. So we have some ellipse here. And then this ellipse will have the equation of x squared over a squared plus y over y squared over b squared equal to 1. And what we're going to be doing now is we're going to be shifting this. And let's go ahead and shift it up and over. So we're going to have x minus h squared over a squared plus y minus k squared squared over b squared equal to 1. And what we're going to do then is we're going to march over from our center here. We're going to go over some amount, and for this case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, say some amount 5 here of h. So we're going to move some h amount over. We're going to go some k amount up. Let's just, for argument's sake, say 3, some k amount. To this point, h, k. And that's going to be our new center point. And then from there, so from there, it'll be the same thing as before. So 1, 2, then we'll have our outer point. Oops, and let me do this in dark green just so it's a different color. So here and here, and then 1, 2, so it'll be here and here, and then up and down, just say 1, just to match. Then very carefully draw our ellipse. Good enough. So what do we have here? So basically, we're going to be given equations that look like this. We're going to solve them and figure out what this looks like, and then we're going to take each of these points over h and up or down k, and then like the same here. This point will go over h. In this case, would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, same as before, and up 1, 2, 3, and so these points are the same. This again will be over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and up 1, 2, 3, and so these points will be moved over h and k. So we're just move everything over by h and k. All right, so let's look how that looks on the next page. So here we have our first example. So we're going to be looking at the shifted ellipse. So let's look at this carefully together. So here we have x plus 1. So we have x plus 1 squared over 4. And for simplicity reasons, let's write that 4 as 2 squared. And then we have plus y minus 2 squared over 9. And so we're going to, for simplicity reasons, write this as 3 squared equal to 1. And so in this case, we're going to, remember it's x minus h, y minus k. Let me write that here. X minus h, y minus k. And so in this case, Here, our h will be equal to -1, so minus minus 1 gives us the +1. And our k here would be equal to +2. So we have h and k too. So we're going to take the center, which is usually at 0, 0, and we're going to move it to a new centered, so it's going to be now centered at -1, 2. Okay, so -1, 2. So how do we find all the points for this? Well, let's go through it simply. To do this, you simplify this. So we're going to simplify this. So to get the points, we're going to simplify it. So the first thing we're going to do is simplify. Simplify. Okay, I'm going to simplify. And to do that, we're just going to remove x minus h or y minus k and just replace with straight x. And so here we have x squared over 2 squared plus y squared over 3 squared. So we're going to look for the simplified one. All right, from there we can look at the vertices, both the major and minor. So the vertices. So for the major axis, what it would be in the y direction. Notice that 3 is bigger, so again, it would be in the y direction. So we have 0 and 3, and then 0 and -3. For the minor direction, or in the x-axis, the minor vertices would be here 2 and -2, and -2 here. So we have 2 and -2. Again, this would be our A and -A, and this is our B and -B. Okay, just see where we got those numbers from. Okay, and of course, since this is the smaller one, this is B, and since this larger one, this one is A. If you have trouble finding those, go ahead and review the previous videos, but if you're in this section, we'll assume that you understood the other sections well enough. All right, so then last thing we need to do is find C, so we can find our foci. And so we have the square root of 9 minus the square root. Well, let's go ahead and write it as a squared. So a squared would be 3 squared, which is 9, minus b squared, which is 2 squared, which is 4. So 9 minus 4, that gets us the square root of 5. And so now we have the foci. So the foci of this would be 0, square root 5, and then 0 minus the square root of 5. All right, so we have the simplified, and we want to move it back over. So here's the points for the simplified. So let's go back to our version. So I'm going to write non-simplified, simplified. So we simplify, and then we take the non-simplified version, aka x plus 1 squared over 2 squared plus y minus 2 squared over 3 squared equal to 1. All right, so how are we going to translate all this? Basically, we're going to take each vertex here, every point that we find, and we can just modify it by h and k. And remember, so we're going to take 0 minus 1, and I'll take 3 plus 2. Now, where am I getting these values? Well, this is, of course, grab my little highlighters. This is my x in my center, and this is my y for my center. And I'm just going to do this to every single value. So here, from 0, I'm going to, once again, minus 1, and then take this -3 and add 2. That's going to give me another point. Here, I'm going to just take the 2. I'm going to minus 1, and then I'm going to take the 0 and add 2. And then here I'm going to take the -2, minus 1, and the 0 and add 2. And again, where am I getting these values? I am getting them from the center. So here I'm just going to, I am going to add my k, h, to each of these. I'm going to add my h, which is -1, to each of these, and then add my k to each of these, and these give me my new points. So what are those points? Well, those points are, in this case, I'll have -1 and 5. Oops. put this over there. And minus 1 and let's raise my undo button. Undo. Undo. Something went wrong. Here we go. Minus 1 and 5. Here we are. We have minus 1 and negative 1. Here we have 1 and 2. And here we have minus 3 and 2. And the same thing will be done here for the focus, or the foci. We can just add, so we take 0 minus 1, same as before, and then square root of 5, square root of 5 plus 2, and then here again 0 minus 1 minus the square root of 5 plus 2, and then here we go like this, we go like this, and then now what do we have? We have negative 1, and just to write this a little cleaner, we're going to write the 2 first plus square root 5, and then here we'll have minus 1, and then we'll have 2 minus the square root of 5. All right, so the last thing that we need to do is roughly sketch this. You can sketch this one first if you'd like, and then just move everything over, or now that we have the new points for the non-simplified version, we can just sketch that. So let's do that in this empty space right here. Draw ourselves axis. All right, let me zoom on in. All right, so let me just add 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, oops, again it wants to make a link. Nope, do not want to do that. 3, 4, and oops, 5. Here we are. All right, so where's our center? Our center here is at negative 1, 2. So let's go ahead and put that in. So minus 1 and 2. So here's our center at negative 1, 2. All right. My vertices, so my major axis is in the y direction. So let's go ahead and do that. So it would be negative 1, 1 is my one vertex. So let's go ahead and write that in, negative 1, 1. And then up here would be 1 and negative 1, 5. So negative 1 and 5. Double check that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. And then in my x-axis, it's 1 and 2. So 1 and 2 would be right here. So this is 1, 2. And then I have minus 3. 1, 2, 3. So the 3 minus 3, comma 2. And here I can roughly sketch my ellipse. All right. And if we wanted to, we could add in our foci, but for the sake of this picture, it's pretty complicated enough. All right. And so the gist of this section, we're going to do this a couple more times, is to take get it into its normal form where it's x plus h, y plus k, and then simplify it, solve all the points like you learned before, then add the center to all of them, and then you'll get the non-simplified points here. And then you can use that to graph or do whatever math you need to do with it. All right, so let's go on to, let's look at this next example here. Now, it's not in standard form, so that's our first goal to do. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to write this over here as x squared minus 4x, and then I'm going to leave some space over here. I'm going to write 8y minus 28. All right, so that's going to be very common in this section, is that you're going to have stuff that you're going to have to complete the square, so to speak. So let's go ahead and do that. So to complete the square, here we take this, our b part, so we divide it by 2, and so it gives 2, then square it gives us positive 4, so we add 4 to this side, we add 4 to this side, we add 4 to this side. As you would see in a 126 class, right? So you're just completing the square. Once you complete the square, what do we have here on this side? We have x squared minus 2, so I like it, x minus 2, thank you, squared. So here we completed the squared. Basically, it's whatever here divided by 2 was, right? Is equal to 8y minus 24. Okay, so we have that. We still need to clean this one out. Here we just pull out the 8. So here we have x minus 2 squared is equal to 8y minus 3. Okay. And again, you can now do the simplified version. So let's go ahead and simplify it. So let's do the simplified version. So I'm going to simplify. And so this just becomes x squared equal to 8y, or in other words, 2 times y. Again, we wanted this 4py. Here, the vertex here is at 0, 0. Our focus, our single focus here, is at 0 comma p. In this case, it'd be 2. And then our directrix line would be y minus p, and in this case, it would be 2, y minus 2. All right, so here we simplified and found all the other stuff. But again, going back to the non-simplified, what's our h and what's our k? All right, so let's make this very clear. So our h is 2. Our k here is 3. So we're going to take everything, we're going to move it over to the right by 2 and up by 3. And the reason I say it this way is because here, we're not adding this pointer, where here I just have to only have a line, so I can only move it up or down. So let's do this carefully together. So what are we doing? We're going to take our center, so we're going to take this, I'm going to take 0 plus 2, and then 0 plus 3 gives our new vertex of 2, 3. Here I'm going to take my focus of 0 plus 2, comma, and then my focus would be 2 plus 3, which gives me my new focus point of, 2 plus 5. And my directrix, I'm going to take this y equal to minus 2, and then since it's only the y, I'm only going to add k to it. So I'm going to add to it here 3, which is our k, right? Remember, this is h, this is k, which is our new center, or in this case, the vertex, right? And that produces my new directrix equal to y equal to 1. All right, with all this information, we can draw the new one. So we can make a sketch. So let's go ahead and do that right here. All right, 1, 2, oops. Again, I do not want to link. 1, 2. Something's gone off, but that's all right. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 4, 5. And that should be plenty to draw our thing. All right, so where is our vertex? Our vertex is at 2, 3. So 1, 2, and up 1, 2, and 3. So here we are. Oops. Here we are. We're at 2, 3. So we'll go and mark that as 2, 3. All right, our focus is up 2 from there. And so this is at 2, 5. This is our focus. And then our directrix line right here. We'll go ahead and do that as a dotted line. As y is equal to 1 is our directrix. And then here we can roughly just sketch, it doesn't need to be precise, but roughly sketch in our parabola. All right, and that is this completed problem. All right, so this problem comes in two parts. First, they say complete the square to find the equation that represents hyperbola. Then we're going to find all the vertices after they've been vertices, center, focus, asymptotes, everything once it's been shifted, and then sketch it as give a rough sketch. So let's start with the first. So again, we're going to complete the square of this. So let's show you how to do this. Pull out whatever is up front. So here we'll have a 9 and a 16. We're going to have our x squared to be clean. So 9 divided by 72 leaves us with 8. So 8x, and then leave a space right there. Then we minus 16, that way we have our y nice and clean. 16 times 2 gives us our 32, so when we pull this out, this is just minus 2, but remember we also left this negative out, so do make this positive 2y. Give a space here. And again, notice here, if I pull out a positive 9, I'm going to pull out a positive 9 here and here. If I pull out a negative 16, which I need to do here, I'm going to pull out negative 16 and negative 16 to make sure that this is 2y, just in case you're curious how that came down. All right, again, leave a space and set this equal to 16. All right, now we're going to complete both the squares, and I'm going to do this in a different color just to be very clear about this. So here, half of negative 8 is negative 4. Negative 4 squared is a positive 16. So what I add to one side, I must to the other. So I'm going to add 16 to it. But I also must multiply by this 9, because if I add 16 inside the parentheses, I'm really adding 9 times that 16 right here. Okay, and then with a different color, here I have a 2 divided by 2 is 1, 1 squared is 1, and so here I add 1. And if I add 1 here, I must add 1 here, but I must multiply it by minus 16. Again, if I add 1 inside this parentheses, I have to really adding negative 16 to it. All right, so let's clean this up. So this is 9, I completed my square, x minus 4 squared. Remember, if you complete your square properly, it's half of what that is. Minus 16, and here I'll have y plus 1 squared is equal to, if I sort all the math, this is 144. So I have it as 144. Let's clean that up just a little bit to make it look like hyperbola. So we're going to divide everything by that 144. And if we do that, we get x squared minus 4 squared, all divided by 16 minus y squared plus 1. 16 divided by 104 gives us a 9 equal to 1. We have it in our very close to our form. We only just need to do one more step. We'll just take x squared minus 4 squared, or minus 4, x minus 4 squared. 16 is 4 squared minus y plus 1, quantity squared, divided by 3 squared. All right, so now we have it in a form that we can cleanly do everything. So what is our center? Our new center here, let's go ahead and grab that. Let's go ahead and write it here. Our new center is at, or h and our k would be at positive 4 and at negative 1. Remember, so positive 4, so you switch the sign, and here, because it's x minus k, or x minus h, y minus k, so you switch signs. So here, this negative 4 becomes positive 4 in the x, this negative positive 1 becomes negative 1. All right, so what do? We simplify it. So we simplify this. So we're going to simplify just like before. Simplify. So we get x squared over 4 squared minus y squared over 3 squared equals to 1. All right, let's find all the things. Let's find all the things. All right, so let's just see the center so let's just check off things as we do it. We found the center, it's right here. So let's do the vertices. The vertices in this case will be in the x direction. So the vertices okay, And they're in the x direction, so it's -4, 0, and 4, 0. When you type this into the homework, be very careful. When it says the smaller, it usually means the more negative. So put it into the computer the way it asks you to put it in the computer. So just be careful that you see what it's asking for and do that. Our focus, our foci, since there's two of them, well, we need to find C real quick. Let's find C. So C is equal to the square root of 4 squared plus 3 squared. So that's the square root of 25, which is 5. So our foci would be -5, 0, 5, 0. And then we have our asymptotes. Asymptotes. So our asymptotes. And in this case, we have y equal to 3/4 x and y equal to -3/4 x. And I'm going to write them as a separate set for obvious reasons in a second. All right, so now what do we do? Well, we just take our simplified version and we add our center to everything we solved. So let's do that carefully. So here we're going to add, this will be -4 plus 4, and 0 minus 1, and that will give us our new point of 0, 1. Then we go back to the light blue. We have +4 plus 4 and 0 minus 1. So that gives us our new point of, 8 minus 1. Oops, sorry, minus 1. This should be a -1 up here as well. All right. Going down, we'll have -5 plus 4 and 0 minus 1 as before. Then again, we'll have -5 plus, or +5 plus 4 and 0 minus 1, giving our new points of -1 minus 1 and 9 minus 1. And our asymptotes. Our asymptotes are a little bit different. Let me show you how to do this carefully. Here, we're just going to add in, we're going to swap out y for y plus h, or y plus y minus k. So here would be y plus 1 equals to 3/4, and then we'll switch out x minus 4. Okay, so basically we're going to just take these and place them in where we see y and x for our asymptotes. So let's go ahead and do that. And here, again, we'll do this y plus 1 is equal to minus 3/4 x minus 4. All right. So what does that give us? Let's go ahead and solve this out. So this becomes y is equal to 3/4 x minus 4. And this becomes y equal to minus 3/4 x. That gets me +3 minus 1, so +2. There we go. Okay, just real quick, so if we multiply 3/4 by 1/4, you get 3, so this would be -3 minus 1 gives us me -4, -3 times -4 divided by 4 gives me +3 minus 1, giving me the 2. All right, so now we have all our points and stuff shifted, and the last thing we want to do is sketch it. So let's go ahead and make that sketch in this big room right here. I'm going to need more room to the right, so I'll make sure I show that. All right, and so I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to go to the left, sorry. And then I'm going to go to the right by 10 since I have points that will need to go that far. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so here we have a little bit more room to work. And here we have our point, our first point, our center, let's do this, is at 4, negative 1. So 1, oops, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and negative 1. So right here. So this is at 4 minus 1. Then we have our point at our, one of our values at 8 and the other one at 0 minus 1. So this is 0 minus 1. This is 8 minus 1. And then here we have our focus here. Will be at 9 minus 1. And the other one will be at negative 1, negative 1. Here's our other focus point. All right, so we put in these, so we put in our center, we have our two vertices here and here, we have our two focuses here and here. And again, you don't necessarily have to find these unless the homework asks you for them specifically, because in order to draw it, you can do the same thing we learned before. You go left and right by 4, we go up and down by 3, and then we draw our box. So let's do that. So from our center, we go up and down by 3, so it'll be here to here, and then go all the way across. Then we go up, and we go here. And here we have our box roughly, and then we go ahead and connect these diagonals as best we can. Yeah, it's all right. It's good enough. Oh, it just wants to make it. It's just fine. Wants to make it perfectly square. Sometimes the program doesn't do what you want it to do. That's right. But notice what this is. This is y is equal to minus 3/4 x plus 2. This is y equals to, if it went through here as it's supposed to, is equal to minus 3, or positive 3/4. Oops. There we go. I can fix it from here. Ta-da. Now it goes through where I want to show you. So it goes to positive 3/4 x plus 4. And notice how I've sketched these lines just by doing the box same as before, and you get the same equations. Okay. And so the final thing we need to do sketch is just roughly estimate it. And so we're going to roughly estimate that it comes in, following our asymptotic lines, touches our vertex, and then heads out. And again, it comes in, touches our vertex, and heads on out. And here's a rough sketch of this problem. All right. And that should give you everything you need to know about how to do shifted conic sections.